Welcome to Get Set Resumes. We are here with an episode to help you create a cutting edge resume. Today, we will talk about how to present education in a resume. So, why do you need education in the resume? Well, your education is the first step you take towards building a career. Whatever your degree is, your educational credentials are your lifetime asset and they stick with you throughout. If your career is an extension of your education, it shows your clarity of thought. And of course, the educational section is a mandatory criteria for almost everywhere you apply. While the section may look like a small one, you do not have to take it lightly and make sure you present it fully and correctly. After the why, let's talk about the what. So, what does the education section comprise of? The section contains your degree, the school or the university you got your degree from, your marks, your year of completion, and any other academic certificates you possess. Next up is the hows. How to write this section in the resume? Well, there are a variety of ways, depending on how good your marks are, to when you graduated and which stage of your career you are in. Your education section will be presented differently. Let us begin with the recent graduates. Since young graduates do not have a lot of experience to showcase in the resume, apart from a few internships here and there, the education part plays a very important role. Your education section will include your degree, the school where you got the degree from, and your year of completion. Always mention your marks. If you got bad grades, you can skip mentioning marks, though for the HR it would be an obvious hint. If you have multiple degrees, use the reverse chronological order, which means most recent degree is mentioned first and so on. Next, we will be talking about how to present your score and whether to do it or not. Well, if you do have a great score, mention it on the right side of the degree. However, there may be a possibility that your score is not groundbreaking, but you don't have to fret about that. You can use other accomplishments to catch the recruiter's eye. Next up, we'll talk about what you can include in there. If you graduated recently and have received some medals, distinctions, or any other award for your performance, do not be shy and just mention it. Make sure that you are mentioning every achievement which might give you an edge amongst other resumes that the potential employer might come across. Now, let us talk about the professionals as to how they can make use of their education section to get noticed. Often, people with more than 5 years of experience do not focus too much on the education section and they tend to pay more heed to the professional experience. Well, you may present it briefly, but education does play a part and you should not forget that. If you showcase continued education, it shows direction in terms of your willingness to go for trainings and professional growth courses. Some roles need a certain level of education for you to be able to get the role, so you cannot completely leave the education section unattended. Let us now talk about what should you include and what should you not in your education section. If you are a professional with a greater number of experience years, you can skip out your high school details. Along with this, getting rid of those scores also makes sense as recruiters would be happy with your degree mentions and a few achievements as they will focus more on your past experiences. Unless, of course, if you were a gold medalist in the top 0.1 percentile of your batch, then there's no harm in mentioning. Next up is how to include the important skills. Well, along with your basic education and information, it is always beneficial to add technical skills, certifications you have received, courses and trainings you have taken, and the licenses you have. Check out on the screen how nicely the educational background has been mentioned. You can also make something like this with the university name being highlighted or vice versa. Next up is how you can use your academic background to its best. If you've got it, you should flaunt it. So if you have a degree from one of the most premier institutes in the country or even across the globe, you can always use it in the beginning. Use it in the summary so that it is highlighted and your chances of getting hired increase. You can even highlight the name of your university right at the top so that the recruiter is forced to scroll through the entire resume and see what exactly your resume is all about. Next up is where to place the educational section. Well, you have two options when it comes to placing your education section. Let's talk about the first one here. You can place the education section before your work experience when the role you have applied for will consider your education more than the work experience you have. Or if you have received a new degree or are a fresher or are even starting afresh after some break years. Well, let's talk about when would you add the education section after the work experience. This could be done when your job profile is not the same as your education or even when your experience has more weightage as compared to your educational qualifications. So, we've covered all the topics of education here for you. Well, that's it for today. We sincerely hope that this video may be useful to you. Let us know in the comments if you liked it and if it helped you in any way. Thanks for watching, and we will come up with more such videos to help you ace your resume. Do visit GetSet Resumes and check out how we transform the resumes of some of the top professionals in the world. Thank you.